Yo, what is up, guys? Hope you guys are doing well, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm Brahma, and in today's episode, we'll be going over how to screen print the most cost-effective way. I did a couple video on how to screen print a couple weeks ago, and I've noticed a couple comments saying that if you're a beginner, you don't have these expensive equipment. So in this episode specifically, I'll be diving deep on how I first started screen printing and the most simplistic and cost-effective way. So hope you enjoyed this episode. Again, we're trying to provide as much value to you guys as possible. So feel free to subscribe and like this video before you get started so we could get the YouTube algorithm to suggest it to other people. Cut there. Cut it. I hope you guys enjoy this video. Yo, so we're currently at Blick's art store and we're grabbing supply for screen printing. So I grabbed the 160 screen and then I have the photo emulsion here with the sensitizer. I have a squeegee, so I'm not gonna buy this, but I'll list all the items that you need to start out screen printing. All right, so phase one of screen printing. All right, so I got the emulsion and then the sensitizer. I'm just gonna mix these two together. So this is like photosensitive. You gotta mix these two together in order for it to work as a, I guess, photosensitive. So I'll just put a little bit of water here. Make sure you mix this pretty well. Again, the emulsion that I use needs this thing. So if you go to Blick's or if you buy them from Amazon, just make sure you get both of them. There's some emulsion that comes mixed, so you don't need to do this extra step, but this is what I've been using the past year. Again, I want this YouTube channel to be just a bigger conversation about screen printing. So if you have any recommendation for other emulsion I should try out, just leave it in the comment. I'm always looking to experiment and try new items. So this is usually just like this nice baby blue, and then when you mix it with this, it turns green. How much should you just mix it? So with this, the process, I'll just say mix it very well. Like take your time with it. Make sure the whole thing is mixed properly. Sometimes I'll even just open just to take a look if it's there. See, as you can see, it's green. But I'll just mix it a little bit more just to make sure all of the photosensitive chemical is mixed with the emulsion itself. All right, so next step, once you mix the photo emulsion, it goes right onto the screen. I don't quite know the name of this, but I'll leave it in the description or we'll title it here. But you could get this from Amazon or Blick's art store. The reason I didn't buy it because I have like 3 of them here, custom made, so I'll use this to coat the screen.
You say custom made?
Yeah, custom cut. So like sometimes like if we have a local screen printing shop here, which is nice because I'll just call them and like, hey, I need this and that, and I can just go pick it up hours later. So since I've moved on to working with bigger screens, I needed something that was bigger to coat the whole thing. So with this one, I could just coat it from side to side. Again, the screen that I have is 160 mesh, and then I'm just gonna pour this emulsion. It's green. Sometimes it'll have bubbles. Just make sure you don't have the bubbles while coating the screen, or else it'll show in the final result. So just make sure to like kill some of the bubbles this way. So first step, I usually coat the back, and I just make sure to coat it very evenly. As you can see, I'm just waiting for the emulsion to touch all the corners, and then at a 45 degrees angle, I'll just so you can see it's pretty even, and then I'll coat the other side. All right, it looks good. So the next step, I'll just take this and put it in the dark room and let it dry overnight. And if you don't have, I know when I first started, I didn't have a dark room like this, so you could either build something like DIY style, or else you could also put it under your bed too. There's like so many ways to do screen printing. So just make sure, when you're drying it though, just make sure it's like sitting flat so it doesn't drip. Then, yeah, I'll just leave this to dry overnight, and then tomorrow it should be ready, and then that's when we'll actually go through the whole transparency design. Maybe we could draw our own like design on a transparency, and then also going to screen printing, to a printing shop, where we'll get one of our design also printed on a transparency, and then we'll come back here and then burn everything into the screen, and then the next step will be printing it on a t-shirt. Damn, do I write that list or do I just draw something super random?
I think writing a list would be kind of cool.
Yeah, okay. All right guys, so this portion of the video, we're about to get the transparency done. So there's two ways to go about this. You can make your design on your computer, save it as a PDF, go to a print shop, and then get it printed. We're actually gonna do that whole process. And then the other step is getting a blank piece of transparency. You can get these at Office Depot or on Amazon as well, and then just draw your design right on top. And this is actually how I started screen printing. I would sketch my design on top of the transparency, and then I'll burn it onto the screen. So two ways to do it. It'd be kind of cool to like do a mixture of both. You have a computerized version and then also a version where it's like hand drawn. The most important thing about this is just having fun with it. All right, as you can see, I chose a black opaque marker to draw my design on the transparency, and you could do the same for your design. The next step, we're gonna go to the print shop as well to get a second option, which is the printed one. So with this tutorial, I just wanna show you guys all the possible ways of getting the transparency done. How's it going? Wow, this door is heavy to push. I just got my my transparency printed, so you could get this done at your local screen printing shop, FedEx, DigiCopy. Yeah, I think Walmart does them too. So next step is going back to the studio and burning this into a screen. All All right, so on this step is we're burning the screen, and I got this light kit from Amazon. I'll leave the name of it below. It's actually the Diazo Light Kit from Speedball. So I'm just gonna open this and read the instructions, see how far I need to place the light from the screen to burn it. So let's get into it. Comes in two different parts, this, and then the light bulb is in here. I'll just attach it and then go from there. All right, guys, so this is the burning process. We normally use a light box, which is back there. It's quite expensive, but for this screen printing tutorial, we want to be as cost effective as possible. So we just like DIY this light on here, and there's a nice distance between the light and then the screen. There's an instruction on the box of the light kit, and I'm just kind of eyeing it right now. This process does get frustrating when you can't get the burning time right or the burning distance right. So my advice is just constantly experiment so you could get to a point where you're confident in your time and then also the distance of your light. And the other thing too is like if you have extra cash laying around, I would highly recommend investing in like a light box because that makes everything 10 times easier, but this will also work.
You have extra cash
Laying around, man, you know, so you got coins in your jar somewhere. Okay, let's go ahead. Burn the unfinished legacy first. All right, so right now we're in the dark room, and these screens have been here for a couple of days, so they're completely dry. And then the next step is getting my transparency and laying it on the back side of the screen. So right now, this would be the wrong way to do it. You want to do it the opposite, so you can't clearly read it until when you flip it. So I'll tape this, and then when you flip it, you should be able to read it clearly this way. It's a mistake that I've made a couple times, so just pay attention to that when you're laying your transparency on the screen. All right, just want to make sure you're taping all the corners so the transparency is right flat on the screen. And usually some people have a clear glass and they'll put it right on top of it. That works too, but I don't have that right now, so I'm just gonna use tape. And this should work as long as the transparency is flat on the screen. Like there's nothing to worry about. So we'll take this right outside and put it right under the light, and we should be good to go. All right, so make sure to grab your timer too. It says to leave it for 7 minutes, I believe. So I'll get my timer ready. All right, so I now have the screen right on the light, and I'm just kind of going off of the distance and the time is listed right on the box. So I'll leave this exposure time to 8 minutes, and the distance, I just eyed it out. So we'll see. If it doesn't work, I'll burn it again, but it should work. I'm very confident in it. All right, so we left this under the light for 8 minutes, and I could tell that it worked because I could kind of see the design right in there. But there's no way of knowing until we wash it off. So let's do that. This is what I like to do. I like to just like put some water on it and then like scrub it just lightly, and then let it just break down by itself. All Ooh, there's actually the details in there still from the marker. Sick. All right, so we got the hose from Home Depot. Works pretty great for us, and we're lucky to have this industrial sink. And if you're doing this at home, you could just wash it right outside, or sometime in the basement if you have like either a sink or like a drainage, you could just wash it off there. But like I recommend just doing it outside because it works. Whatever it takes to burn the screen and actually washing it. All right, so once you're done washing the screen, just make sure to leave your screen flat, and maybe if you have a fan, just let it blow right on it. It'll dry faster. Don't leave it like this. I've done this before, and all the emulsion kind of just started dripping down because the water was so much. So I would just say best practices: leave it like this or leave it like this, and let a fan just dry it. All right, so we just got the screen all burnt. This is the final result. It's looking real nice. So to prepare screen printing, first you need ink. I'm using a fabric screen printing ink that I got from Blick's art store, and then also just a squeegee. Since I'm doing it by myself, I like to have just a small squeegee that I can control really nicely. Start off by laying the shirt flat on the table. Or I remember when I first started doing this, I was doing it right on the ground. But you just want it to be flat. And then take your screen. I also recommend starting out with just a test print shirt or piece of paper or whatever, just so like you don't mess up your own like garments. So this is what I'm using for my test screen print shirt. All right, you could scoop the ink with anything. Sometimes you could even use a spoon or something like that. I'm just using like a card door right now. All right. This is best to do with like two people, so one person like holding this down. But since I'm doing it like one guy, I'll just use one hand. That's why having a small squeegee just kind of lets you control the ink nicely. So this is called flooding. You want to flood the screen fully, like every part of the design. Just flood it with ink. And then you want to clear everything to the other side. Let's see what this looks like. All right, just like first impression right away, I could see it's like very light, and that's only because I used the 195 mesh screen. So if I were to print another one, I'll probably just go over it multiple times just so the ink could go right through onto the shirt. And then you just let this dry. Since this is water-based ink, like I'll just place it down and then it will dry by itself. And if you also want to, like, you could leave it out in the sun or just fan it. And then I'll do the front right after. So there is instruction on every ink that you buy for screen printing, and then it lets you know how to cure it. This one, you could cure it by air drying it, and then they recommend you to like go back and iron it to make sure that the thing never washes out. But I've never done that. I just like will cure it with air and then be good to go. So now I'm just gonna do the front, which is the brand name. This is like pretty big. that came out kind of cool. The front one is very light. This one came out a little. I like the texture in here, and the darks are really nice. Again, same thing. I'll let this air dry, and then I guess I'll just share my recap from it. I really like how it came out. Very DIY, hands-on. And this again was just a quick sketch of how to screen print on the back of the design. All right, so once you're done printing, scoop all the ink and just put it back in the jar. And then the next thing is going to a sink near you and washing the rest of the ink out. You don't want this to dry since it's air dry. With plastisol, you could leave it sitting on the press for a while, but with a water-based ink, you want to make sure you clean it after every run of screen printing. So that's what I'm just doing right now. And this is ready to get washed. I'm just gonna go to the bathroom and wash it off. And just like that, I'm just gonna let this dry, and I could reuse it again. I could do a different color. There's just a bit of like residue from the ink, but there's nothing wrong with it. I could reuse this so many times as long as I take good care of it. So we'll just take this back and then sit it down to dry. All right, so as you can see, this is not how we normally screen print, but this is like when I first started screen printing, this is how I did things. So I thought it'd be cool to share this video with you guys. And again, we are putting a lot of energy into these episodes. So feel free to like this video, subscribe, connect with us on Instagram, and our social will all be linked below. I'll try to also like link all the items that I've used throughout this video, like in the description, so you guys could refer back to it in your screen printing journey. Again, thank you guys. Peace.